Everyone is probably sick of the FTX contagion. FT this, FT that, Sam Bank this, Sam Bank that. But this will be my final video diving into it, as I think I've put the majority of the pieces together of what happened and why. This goes deep and involves many large players besides the ones already known. So are you ready for the reveal of the unknown? Well, you really don't have a choice, because it's time for Chico Crypto. The first thing we need to explain is who are or were members of the Cartel of Crypto, the Tether Cartel, who are the entities that coordinate together to market make for the crypto ecosystem, aka collude to manipulate it. Well, law enforcement and Congress have the chats from a signal group who has a name exchange coordination. And yes, it included many exchange heads like CZ of Binance, Sam Bankman of FTX, Jesse Powell of Kraken, Justin Sun of Huobi, but also another player, Paulo Arduino of Tether. These were the 5 big players of the crypto cartel who controlled the markets. These chats are very damaging. They prove exchanges and the largest crypto stablecoin coordinated together to have this control. But we are also learning about the players outside of crypto who were a part of this cartel, the banks that fueled their operations with fiat. Last Friday, I showed Binance was able to get banking relationships with US-based Signature and Silvergate Bank, even though they are banned from operating in the United States. They were doing this by using a Seychelles-based shell company, Key Vision Development Limited. Who also was a friend of Signature and Silvergate? Sam Bankman and FTX. In October of 2021, FTX integrated Signature Bank's Signet for fiat deposits and withdrawals from the exchange. And by April of 2022, this expanded when they implemented Fedwire into Signet. From the press release, FTX CEO and founder Sam Bankman-Fried commented on the bank's new Fedwire transfer feature. Partnering with Signature Bank, an established financial institution and fintech pioneer, will allow us to continue to grow our business by leveraging all the advantages and key aspects of Signet. Vice President and Group Director of Signature, Sarman Sarayan, has tweeted photos of himself and another Signature exec arms around SBF, saying he's one of the most influential and smart people in the crypto space. So, Signature is tied to doing business with both FTX and Binance, but of course they are connected to Kraken and Huobi, doing business with both, as it's on both of their websites, which makes them tied to the 4 known exchanges in the exchange coordination group. Is Signature tied to the last known member, Tether? There's no way, right? Tether can't get banking relations in the US. Well, remember, Tether doesn't need them when they can inject people within the bank and facilitate the relationship for members of the cartel who bank for them. As we can see from LinkedIn, Jeffrey Wallace is Vice President and Manager of Digital Solutions at Signature. But lower down in his employment history, we can see Jeff was Director and Chief Development Officer for another bank, Noble Bank. Well, from public evidence from the New York AG Tether investigation, we can see Jefe of the crypto cartel, Giancarlo Devancini, emailed someone about Jeff and Noble Bank back in 2018. The email from Giancarlo said, "Let me introduce you to Jeffrey from Noble. We have been working with Noble for several months, and we believe they are the best solution on the market when it comes to high volume fiat movements." What about Silvergate? We know Binance was tied to them using them through a shell, but what about the other members? Well, yeah, FTX banked with Silvergate. They had major exposure to the exchange. Kraken has it on their website. At Aurelius Value on Twitter captured screenshots from Huobi where Silvergate was an option. And even Justin Sun, Huobi shadow owner, has partnered with them and Signature. Let's listen in.
And QSD now has collaborated with both Silvergate and the Signature Bank.
So is Silvergate tied to the last piece of the cartel, Tether? Oh, of course they are. Back in November, Block.one and founder bought a large stake in Silvergate, making them the largest shareholder. As we can see from Wikipedia on Brock Pierce, it says, Pierce was a co-founder of Block.one, which released EOS.io software. And above that it says, Pierce was a co-founder of the cryptocurrency Tether with Reeve Collins and Craig Sellers in 2014. But also, if we go to Brock's LinkedIn, we can see he was also the co-founder of Noble Bank, the same Noble we just mentioned tied to Signature. They all connect and weave together somehow, some way. Although, now it's time to wrap it all up with a bow, explain what happened, what went wrong, the full story as I see it from what I've pieced together across multiple episodes. Those are all down in the description if you want to check it out and get the full story. Sam Bankman was introduced into the Tether cartel by none other than CZ Binance in December of 2019 when they strategically invested into FTX. Tether used to post a rich list of the top Tether holding wallets. They don't anymore for obvious reasons, but back in December of 2019, the day FTX and Binance became bros, Binance was Tether's #1 customer by a long shot. Interesting, #2 biggest customer was exchange coordination member Huobi. Well, Sam grew FTX into Tether's largest individual customer only a couple years after that. The Protos Tether papers revealed Sam's Alameda took the chunk of the USDT based on Tether's distribution from January 17 to October 21. Although if you count Cumberland and Binance market makers together, as Cumberland is a Binance market maker, then Nance is equal to or bigger than Alameda. But Sam Bankman was deep with the cartel, although 6 months ago he blew that up, the relationship. I made a video on this back then titled Tether is a ticking time bomb, FTX is lighting the fuse, where I showed the mass redemptions happening on USDT were most likely Sam Bankman, and that Sam was trying to take down Celsius, of which Tether was invested in and loaned money to. Then I said this. FTX, SBF, and most likely Alameda. Now, why would they be pulling off this manipulation, this hunting to take Celsius down if FTX is part of the Tether cartel? Well, they may be trying to break free and take the crypto markets for themselves. Yeah, they were trying to break free from the cartel, push another domino over so everything implodes. Why would Sam do this? What was his MO? Well, no one can know for sure yet, but I have some theories. I previously covered Sam and Sam's family's ties to politics, heavily concentrated with the Dems. He is a mole/patsy, sent in to do what he did, try and blow up the markets, lose billions of dollars even for the rich and famous, and attempt to set crypto back 20 years by giving regulators everything they need. I hold this theory because Sam has basically said he is going to do that. He recently tweeted, "At some point, I might have some more to say about a particular sparring partner, so to speak, but you know, glass houses. So for now, all I say is, well played. You won." He was talking about CZ Binance, and more to say, he was talking about to regulators and law enforcement. But I have another theory. Sam Bankman was fearing for his life by his former group, the Tether Cartel. being in the hands of law enforcement in a jail cell was a whole lot safer than being out in the open world. I covered Sam was trying to take down Tether, blow up the market 6 months ago, but if we go back to the exchange coordination chats, we can see the Cartel CZ was accusing him of trying to depeg USDT. Trying to depeg the crypto tied to drug cartels? Yeah, if you didn't know, Bitfinex, the parent company of Tether, used Crypto Capital, a payment processor who worked with them. From this article it says, who in 2018, notably these seized funds, belonged to Crypto SP Zoo, a local firm allegedly affiliated with Crypto Capital, and Melina Lee's arrest was about money laundering for Colombian drug cartels through the cryptocurrency exchange, the report said. Maybe SBF just didn't want a Colombian necktie. Cheers, I'll see you next time.